to community funding review. Councillor Manley asked if he could join us for this one, so I'll introduce it. Effectively what we're looking to do here is just to introduce a little bit of additional flexibility into our community grants system. And that is, and we've always said when we've agreed grants that we wouldn't permit grant aid for revenue funding for organisations. It would always be money which was being put in for a specific capital project, so a piece of equipment that was needed, some small piece of infrastructure for the organisation. And what we're looking to do now is to broaden that out a bit and say that it would be acceptable for organisations to apply for one-off revenue funding, so running costs for their organisation, but provided, of course, that they're not looking to apply every year for revenue funding, because, of course, that means that the organisation is not actually viable, because we can't have, obviously, a lot of groups and bodies which are dependent every year for council funding to effectively bail them out of their problems. So that's what we're looking to do here, and I'm interested to hear what Councillor Manley thinks about it.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm going to try to put into words your sentiments, which I am sympathetic towards. If we go to recommendation to changes 17B, at the moment it says allow applicants to set up a new project. I would like to add into that, or suggest that you add into it, for an existing and established community project which has temporary financial difficulties. We can get into the situation where you can get an existing project, whatever it might be, whatever type it might be, that suffers from a financial problem, a revenue problem, which is not uncommon. It can easily happen to most organisations, and that will die the death for the lack of some financial support. But out of the ashes, you're suggesting here, a new project would get up and be supported on a revenue basis, on a one-off basis, and of course the case must be justified. A decent business plan must be put forward, but it probably will arise out of the same circumstances that at the demise of the earlier project failed. So I think if we could extend that offer to those projects which have a temporary financial difficulties, revenue difficulties, we could assist them to keep going for a given period of time, and the time must be set, and the plan must be able to carry that project forward, and rather than let it die to set up a new one afterwards. So, just an extension of the thoughts that you expressed yourself. The other one, quite a bit difficult, is 17C, was recovering assets, presumably assets which have been purchased by way of grant. Very difficult to perhaps remove those and identify those, but still look forward to the legal definition.
Thank you, Councillor Manley. That's most helpful. Perhaps to look at that then specifically, if we're looking at the recommendations, then recommendation B is probably the one which you're highlighting, which says allow applicants setting up a new project to apply for one-off grant, etc. Perhaps to amend that to say applicants setting up a new project or running an existing project to apply. And that would deal with that one. And in terms of recovering assets, I guess we've just done that with the Solent Arena, and we've now taken into custody the rink that we paid for, and that's now waiting in hope there's another group will come along with premises to run a new Solent Arena or similar. So we do, we're already doing that in fact. It's not going in mugging somebody, but if the opportunity arises to recover an asset which is no longer being used for the purpose for which we supplied funding, then we will do what we can to recover it. Setting up a new project or running an existing project to apply for a one-off grant, etc. Okay, that's Mrs. Mowbray.
Thank you, Chairman. That is wonderful. Obviously, I support Councillor Mandry, what he's just said. Don't always, as you know. But, you know, as with the Crofton Youth Project, you know, funding is hard. We do have worrying times and we do struggle. So sometimes just, you know, a bit of help, a bit of lift up might help us. Thank you.
Okay, so is that, yes, that's for Mr. L.
Thank you, Chairman. I support obviously the recommendations about the community funding review. There are two pots available, and I would just remind Councillors Mandry that there is a youth funding pot and there's a community grants funding pot. So if you're looking at funding for youth, there is a separate pot for that with different criteria. This particular pot could be used for youth, yes, but they are for the organisations throughout the borough who are looking to set up particular initiatives or have an initiative that's a little bit different. So I'm just saying there are two pots that can be looked at. But yes, I agree with the recommendations within the report.
Okay.